Hello and welcome back. It's April 11th, first day of the fourth quarter, and we're at the 8th grade Avian Symposium. Today we're going to have a fascinating presentation that's going to begin things. It's named after one of my favorite poems. She'll tell us more about this. The Raven. Let's welcome Alex Hopkins.
So my name is Alex, and I'm doing a report on the Raven. First comes is Raven's classification. Its kingdom is Animalia, which includes all animals, including humans. Next, its phylum is Chordata, which contains most animals and birds. Its class is Aves, that contains all birds. Its order is Passeriformes, which includes more than half of the species of birds, and all of these birds are known as perching birds. Its family is Corvidae, which includes ravens, crows, jackdaws, magpies, jays, and nutcrackers. And its genus is Corvus, which is made up of the Corvidae family. And then the species is Corvus corax. Next comes the distribution, and ravens range from Alaska all the way down to Central America, and they are known as one of the most widespread birds in the world. They can also be found in Europe, Greenland, the British Isles, northern Scandinavia, Iceland, east through Central Asia, and to the south of the Himalayas and northwestern India. And I'll give you a minute to write that down. Next we have conservation, and according to the IUCN, ravens are of least concern and their population is steadily increasing. When it comes to habitat, ravens can be found in open and forest habitats across western and northern North America. They can also be found in the high desert, the tundra, and grassland. And they also live in city amongst people eating food from the trash cans. When it comes to appearance, ravens are completely black with a large shaggy neck and a bowie neck type of beak. They are very massive and they have a wedge-shaped tail. And they are also thinner than crows with longer, what people would say, fingers at the wingtips. Here's a picture of a raven in flight, so you can see that. And in this next picture, right here, you can see what people would call the fingers. That's longer than what crows would have for wings. They weigh 24.3 to 57.3 ounces. Like I said before, they're very large. Their length is 22 to 27.2 inches long, and they have a wingspan of 45.7 to 46.5 inches, which is twice their body length. And as you can see in this picture, there's no apparent differences between the male and the female bird. Behavior. Ravens are very bold, clever, and playful, and they usually travel by themselves or in pairs. And if they are found in a larger group than just a pair, then that usually means that they are young and they haven't found their mate yet. They are very smart and one of the only species of birds to have a sense of humor, and they are also known as the world's second smartest creature. They are said to be more graceful and agile than crows, often performing aerobatics, tumbling midair, and sometimes they can even be seen playing with objects by dropping them and catching them midair. They are also smart enough to come together to solve problems. Like, for example, they can be seen working together to tear open a bag of food if they can't get it open by themselves. And they can also be seen using sticks to dig items out of unreachable places. And another interesting fact is that ravens also have the ability to mimic human speech.
slideshow up top there. And then go from current slide.
When it comes to breeding, courtship involves the male soaring, swooping, and tumbling in front of the female to catch her attention. The pair then soar together, as you can see in this picture. And then they perch together and they preen one another, as you can see in this picture. Ravens mate for life, and they begin breeding at 2 to 4 years of age. Nesting in the young, female ravens will lay 4 to 7 eggs that are greenish and with brown blotches all over them. And both parents incubate the egg, though normally the mother will sit on the eggs and keep them warm while the father goes out to find food and bring it back to the mother. And then the fledglings will stay with the parents for about 6 to 10 weeks. Ravens do not hibernate, migrate, nor undergo torpor whatsoever. When it comes to their diet, they eat arthropods, amphibians, small mammals, birds, reptiles, and carrion. And ravens really aren't picky, and if they're hungry enough to the point where they're starving, they'll even eat animal dung. And they can also be found eating out of the trash cans in cities and eating off the streets, wherever they find crumbs. The mortality rate of the raven is about 50% in the first year, and the longer the raven will spend with his parents, the better chance of survival it has in the wild. And on average, ravens will live to about 13 years in the wild, and the oldest recorded raven lived to 29 years in captivity. The only 3 things ravens have to fear are eagles, hawks, and humans. And humans are the raven's largest threat due to hunting and things like that. And though humans are one of the raven's largest threats, ravens are often comfortable around humans and are often found in cities amongst humans and their pets and their machinery. And ravens are not frightened whatsoever by the humans nor the machinery. Thanks for listening.
Questions for Ellen?
Do humans have to teach them how to talk, or do they just kind of pick it up?
They just pick it up, like if they'll hear human speech, they'll be able to pick it up because with their vocal cords, they're able to mimic it.
What's the main difference between a raven and a crow?
Ravens are larger, and like it said earlier in the slideshow, ravens are more agile and more graceful in the air, and there are also a few other physical differences. Yeah.
What's the raven related to? Like what other birds?
Like I said earlier, it's part of the Corvidae family, so they're related to crows, jackdaws, magpies, jays, and nutcrackers.
So what is like the differences between females and males, since there's no like obvious?
There really isn't any differences between them. Like they both have the same, the same wingspan, length, and everything. There really isn't a difference between the two, beside the gender.
How big of a threat are those predators that you mentioned to the conservation of the bird?
It is not common for an eagle or a hawk to go after a raven, but let's say they're both they're going after the same small mammal. I don't think the hawk or the eagle would be afraid to go after the raven with it.
So they're not really having that much of an impact then.
It's mostly humans.
And so, speaking of them, like, how big of an impact do they have on the conservation of the bird?
It just depends how, you won't find many raven hunters, so it's not quite a large impact. So ravens don't have many predators whatsoever. It's just that those are the three that they might have to fear when it comes around to it.
Gotcha. Any other questions from this?